Alrighty friends, hello. I am back with another reading video finally. I've got a new microphone, so hopefully things sound a little better and sharper and, you know, good. Hopefully, we'll see. This will be the first test run of it, so I thought reading video would be a good way to test out the new mic. So here we go. Again, I don't have much right now to kind of read off of besides the George Takei articles online, so we're gonna keep doing that. So this one for today is called People Share the Biggest Twist in Their Family History. So like the big kind of like, oh my god, that really happened in your kind of family. So get comfy, get cozy, enjoy these rad tunes, and let's get going with the reading. People don't usually live their lives considering the future generations too heavily. Sure, once children and grandchildren are in the plans, but rarely do the children 200 years from now factor in those plans. Thus, people live life rather precariously. They take chances, go pursue strange adventures, carry on risque and dramatic relationships, oh my. In the vacuum of a single life, that's all well enough. But for the people generations down the line looking back on those old biographies, an ancestor's approach can seem wild. It might even leave one feeling that if one small detail turned out differently, the whole story would have went in a very different direction. And that is of existential importance for the person looking at the history. Alright, a nice little intro there. So first title is always exciting when you read it, Infamy. Interesting, if not incredibly sad. I had a great-great-grandma or aunt, I can't remember, who had 13 children out of wedlock, all by different men. She was nicknamed notoriously Loose Julie by her town. Oh my, 13 different men. 13 different children. Yikes. Okay, the doctor told her not to have any more children after the 12th, but she did so, and both her and that baby died. Oh no. Well, that's kind of sad though. The 13th child and her ancestor passed away. The community felt she was such a stain on the town's reputation, they refused to bury her in the town cemetery. Back in the old days, small town values. Oh, dang. I guess that makes sense though, if you've ever read like the Scarlet Letter or anything like that. Makes sense. But that is sad that the 13th kid and her did not make it. Next story, life took a turn. Grandfather had an affair with my grandmother's sister. Ooh, he got her pregnant, and when the little boy turned 7, he went to live with my grandparents, and they raised him as their own. The pain my grandmother must have felt is insane. I didn't learn this until I was 36 this year. Oh, wow. To hear that, like, your grandparents had, like, raised this other kid. Oh, man, that's a little crazy. But yeah, the grandmother's sister. Oof. That is some drama. Nearly there. So, my Swedish ancestors arrived to Australia by boat. When they arrived, one of them got crushed by a crate that fell off a crane on the docks. He made it all the way and didn't even get to set foot in Australia. Damn, even just the flight from Europe to Australia is anxiety fuel. I can't imagine taking a boat all the way there. I'll take my chances in Europe eating potatoes. Yeah, oh, that's so sad though. Like, just this whole idea of like a new life, moving to Australia and kind of starting over. And then you die before you even get there. That's pretty tragic. Okay, next. Expand on that takeover, please. Alright, interesting title. My great uncle traced our family back 14 generations. We tried to take over in Wales, failed, and then were banished. Oof, okay. Did you find this out after trying to enter Wales? Do you ever sit by a window during a cold summer rain looking out soulfully into the darkness, and as you slowly draw your fingers against the foggy glass, to yearn for what could have been yours? Oh my god. Yes, Wales could have been mine. I could have been royalty in Wales, if only we had not failed. That's funny. An empowered line. Women in my family have been going to college for 7 generations, since the 1840s. Most of them have master's degrees. Also, one of these women, either my great grandma or my great great grandma, was involved in the first car wreck in our city as a teenager when she stole her parents' car and drove it into a horse drawn buggy. A legend. Wow. Master's degree, super intelligent, on her way to greatness, and then it was the first car wreck in the city. The legendary. So, still uncertain. I'm related to John Wilkes Booth and Abraham Lincoln. There's a family legend that John actually survived the manhunt and lived in a family attic until he died of old age. There are also various other escape theories running about. When my family tried to get the bones of the body the U.S. government claims is John Wilkes tested, a judge first denied exhumation. There are 3 vertebrae being kept by the U.S. Army Medical Command, and they also denied permission, claiming that the test, which would require less than 0.4 grams of bone, would be too destructive. Damn. So, conspiracy theories like crazy about how these famous people have been hunted and killed are still alive, and they really want to go back and get that DNA, but the government's like, nope. Keep your secrets, keep your lies, keep it away from us, we don't want it. And you can't have 0.4 grams of bone to test it. Nope. Damn. Okay. That's kind of crazy. Mind you, it is the U.S. government, so they would want to keep their secrets, wouldn't they? A very great grandmother. My great grandmother was the first woman to vote in Maine. Oh wow, that's amazing. The very first woman to vote in Maine. That would be quite a proud thing to hear about your family. I like that one. And then some people commented on the story, get that suffrage girl. And then epic gamer moment number 53. Okay, alright. And hot. I hate our generation. They should not be allowed to comment on things because, wow. Don't call someone's great-grandmother hot. Just don't do it. Next story, an alarming discovery. My family tree has this one branch that loops back to itself. Oh. I see. So there's a little bit of incest in that family tree, it sounds like. And someone put out, break out that banjo. Are you your own grandpa? Follow loop-de-loop tree, I see you. Oh boy. But incest was actually quite a big thing back then. Because a lot of people wanted to keep their family bloodlines really strong and really just kind of within the family, so they often would marry cousins and the occasional brother, and just to kind of keep that bloodline and looks and that kind of DNA really, really strong. So, and now in our day and age, that's really frowned upon, but yeah, it's still a thing. Next story, double dipping. My grandfather is an identical twin. During World War II, he joined the military and his twin took his place at his job. Grandfather got out of the army, made up a new name he's been going by ever since. Oh wow. Could you imagine just trying to get out of the army, faking all this stuff up, twin brother replaces you, and then you just go on and live your life? That's the opposite of what close twins would be, but I guess also maybe that's how close twins would be, to kind of do that for each other. Interesting. A historical claim. One of my great something grandfathers was Thomas Wolsey, the cardinal over England during the reign of Henry VIII, and the guy who attempted to get the Pope to let Henry divorce Catherine of Aragon. Apparently, I came from one of the bastard children he fathered with Joan d'Arc. Whoa! Whoa! That's a crazy historical connection. Damn. Woof. An organized crime plot. There were 2 Tillys on the Mayflower that I could potentially be very distant relatives to. Apparently a prostitute and a horse thief. Elizabeth Tilley is my 14th great-grandmother. No word on her profession or penchant for equine thievery. So, probably prostitute. Good to know. Well done, great-grandma. In limbo. I'm both Austrian and Italian, but also neither of those. My ancestors immigrated from a place that was technically Austria. They wrote Austria on all their paperwork, but now it's Italy. My ancestors would tell you they were Italian. Yeah. So, anyways, I should be eligible for Italian citizenship by blood, but when I applied, they essentially said, no, you're Austrian. So I attempted the same in Austria. Their reply, no, you're Italian. Oh, that sucks. But, like, that makes sense. There's a lot in that area, like northern Italy, Austria, Hungary, like that kind of area of Europe was very contentious, and there would be different parts of each place. Like, some people in northern Austria would say they're German instead of saying that they are Austrian. Like, there's a lot of that kind of, we hear those kinds of stories. Like, my grandmother, she emigrated technically from a part that used to be lots of different places. It used to be like Poland, Germany, Russia, and ended up being Germany today. But technically, she would not call herself German. So there is that kind of weird, like, oh, thanks to how the borders have been recreated and rewrought throughout history, it's hard to kind of claim either one or the other. And then to have that happen, saying, no, you're Austrian, no, you're Italian, that sucks. But I get it. I would be the same way, technically. Next, a succinct description. I probably have the factor wrong, but somewhere around my 8 times removed great uncle was President James Buchanan, the U.S.'s only bachelor president who is most likely gay and hands down the worst president in our history. Not sure how proud I would be if I had that in my family history, but to each their own. But hey, if he was gay, that's cool. Middle-age success. My family was running one of the biggest French pottery businesses during the Middle Ages. And then the comment to the story is, your mother is a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. Thanks. People. Tough act to follow. Up until me, every single person in my bloodline got laid. Wow. This poor person never got laid yet. Well, I mean, it's not all about sex in life, but alright. A slight permanent tweak. When my family came to America, somewhere around the late 1800s, early 1900s, we added an O onto the front of our name to make it sound Irish. Everyone was giving low-paying jobs to the Irish, and it was an easy way to get a job at the time. So you lied about your last name. Added that extra O to make it fancy. Alright, that's kind of interesting, but there were a lot of name changes that happened in history. I'm trying to remember, but like some people would spell people's last names based on how they sounded. So for example, my last name is Wallace. So people, instead of spelling it W-A-L-L-A-C-E, they would probably spell it as W-A-L-L-I-S, Wallace. So you can kind of argue that that happens. Luckily, my name kept the same spelling, we think, over the generations, but other people were not so lucky. A big reveal, and that will be our last story for today, so let's see what this big reveal is. My grandparents were dating and got engaged. During this time, my grandmother's mom and my grandfather's dad began having an affair. Oh, okay. On the day of my grandparents' wedding, they left their respective partners and told people they were together, so it makes them stepbrother and sister. My grandmother is still salty about it, as you can imagine. No kidding, like having your own parents having an affair with each other, not telling anybody until the day that your kids got married. Oof. Yeah, I would feel pretty bitter and resentment about that, because like then technically your guys' like mother-in-laws and fathers-in-law would be the same people. Weird. Like not incest, but like incest by marriage? Question mark? That's kind of crazy. Alright guys, that is our little short reading video. I hope the mic sounded better and clearer. I'm keeping it close just to kind of make sure it does work, so we'll see how it goes. I'll check it out in the editing. So obviously I post it if it sounds good. So Thank you guys for listening. If you've got any kind of crazy family history you want to share, just drop a comment below. Subscribe if you like these, and I'll see you in whatever I post next. Bye, friends. Bye.